Now, you may not immediately think of Walsall as being a centre for poetry, but take it from me, you'd be wrong. Poets are thriving and producing yet another anthology. We'll be talking to one of them in a minute or two, but first, here's a snapshot of what to expect.
Getting wet. Life will swamp you, stay afloat. Persevere, become a boat. Be willing to drift into each day, let the current lead your way. Until you find your course, do not drown in a sea of remorse. There will be rapids ahead to survive, just keep a clear head. As you journey the river of life, a winding way of joy and strife, you must hold to what is true. The rudder and compass are you. Though rough waters deny your will, you'll remain steady, not spill. The journey will be a life's labour, ending in home, the safe harbour.
Well, the bowler hat's gone, and as you can probably see, he's changed his suit as well. Brian Griffin joins me there. I said in the introduction, you know, that you probably wouldn't think of Walsall as being a place for poetry, but it clearly isn't the case. Lots of people are.
There's lots of people. Oh, the West Midlands itself, I mean, Walsall, the encroaching areas. There are a lot of poets out there. A lot of them don't necessarily perform, they write. They might put that poem in a drawer or keep it in a book. And what we've done, or what we decided to do, was to reach out and try and get some of these poets published so that they could find a platform for the voice. And this is why we did this anthology. We called upon poets to come and join us, where they could get the book copy at cost, so that, you know, there's no overcharge. And the whole point of it is that we got 75 to 80% of the poets in there have never been published before. We've put some that have got the experience to help sell the book, and it's doing very well. We're very pleased.
I remember the last time we spoke that one of the things you said was, you know, people who are out there who have not been published and want to be part of it. Presumably you got quite a good response. We
did. As I say, there's over 40 poets there. Yeah. And the great thing is because we're so pleased with this that in July, come August, we'll be doing the second anthology, and we hope to continue this run of getting people published and finding the joy of being in print. And maybe they'll print their own books, they'll publish their own works.
I was watching you when we showed those 3 clips, of which you were one, and you were looking at the screen there, and I could see you were sort of into what they were saying, weren't you? Were you sort of dissecting what they were saying, or was it just an interest in it?
You do. It's both, really. I mean, the one thing all poets have is a love of words, and we understand and look for the music that is in words, and hopefully that was portrayed there. You know?
I mean, it's a craft, isn't it, writing poetry?
It's a craft that anybody can do. It's not that difficult. There's many forms, but you start off, as in anything, gradually, and you build up. I mean, I started to write. I was writing poetry for 2 years, and then I became published and did quite well at that. But then I thought, well, I'll perform. And then there's a different thing. That's a different thing to learn, a different style altogether. And then, you know, hopefully I'm performing reasonably well now. And, you know, we managed to do our own events. We get asked to appear in a lot of events. We do workshops. In fact, the Society's been asked to be involved, getting involved with the younger generation for the Young Poet Laureate of Staffordshire. And we're talking now about what we can do to help in that.
Because it's nice to think that there are young people who want to do this, but I think for a lot of people it's something they come to later in life, isn't it? Because I think it's a bit like Shakespeare. They get put off it at school, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's a strange thing. I mean, Dylan Thomas, prodigies you could say, quite often said, a poet is born. I don't believe that. I think we come to it at different stages of life. Some early on, some through trauma, some really anything. But once it starts, once that flow starts, it continues, it doesn't stop.
Is it like people who write books? Because they always say, and I know from times of writing scripts and all sorts of things, if I could sit down and write the first sentence or the first line, I was away. If I couldn't, it was a struggle. Is it the same when you write a book?
Yes, yeah. It's a very strange thing, I think, particularly when you're writing poetry, because subjects are so diverse. But I mean, I might think, oh, I think I'll write a love poem or something humorous, and it ends up dark. You never know what the muse, what the pen will choose to put on that piece of paper.
Because there are really no rules, are there?
No, not really. I mean, there's some basic ones, you know, but in general terms, no. And particularly in this more modern age, most certainly a lot less rules. You need a few, but not too many.
So here it is, diverse verse. Where can people get this then if they want this?
It's on the internet, so if somebody just types that in, they can buy it from Lulu.
Okay. I wish you well with it. Brian, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks to the other folks. See you after the break.